Hey everyone, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So for today's pick a card, we're going to be doing what makes you stand out from others. So when you're in a crowd of people, what are people noticing about you? They're going, that person's different than everyone else. Like, what's unique about them? That sort of thing. This is going to be pointing out, like, this can go good or bad, depending on if you want to be noticed by people. There's a lot of people in our world who, like, don't want to be noticed by anyone, so they want to fly under the radar. So this reading is going to help you know, like, what areas of yourself make you stand out, that draw attention to yourself. And then if you feel like it, you can like maybe try to work on those areas or something like that if you don't want to stand out as much. For others of you who like being noticed, you like being the center of attention, you like kind of like the energy focused on you, this is going to help you like amplify that aspect of yourself that draws attention to you, basically. So kind of like what grabs attention, what about you grabs attention from other people. And we'll be getting into all of that in today's reading. So we have 4 groups in front of us. We have this, I'll show you guys one by one the crystals. So we have this amethyst point right here. It's the first group. That's group 1, is the amethyst point. Then we have group 2, which is this tangerine quartz cluster. That's group 2. Group 3 is the Smokey Elestial quartz. That's group 3. And last, group 4 is Prehnite, this tumbled Prehnite stone. So those are your 4 groups. You can pause the video here if you need more time to select your crystal. After you're done selecting your crystal, you can go to the timestamps down below in the description box or the comment section and fast forward to your specific tailored to you reading. So without further ado, let's get started with group number 1, the amethyst. And remember, pause that video here if you need some more time to select your crystal. Hey, group 1, this is if you picked this amethyst point. So this will be your reading, all about what makes you stand out to others. So let's start with some oracle cards to start us off. I'm going to pull a manifestation moonology oracle card to start with. This one kind of wants to come out. We have believe in your good luck. And I'm going to pull a making magic card and crystal wisdom card. So for your making magic card, we need a card for group 1. And we have 2 that came out. We have on target and time to shine. And let's get at least 1 crystal wisdom oracle card for you guys. Let's see if a couple want to come out too. We have this one. So your crystal you have is scolecite. It looks like this. So scolecite could be a relevant crystal for you guys in this reading. And then it says peace, I'm an instrument of peace. So we'll put that right there. And we'll draw some tarot cards and we'll get right into your reading. So let's see. You can put one more on there, yeah. So our tarot cards we have first is the 9 of spells. Next we have the keeper of spells, then the 2 of spells, the keeper of boons, the weaver of visions, and the 8 of boons. The spells are, so it's 9 of wands, king of wands, 2 of wands, king of pentacles, queen of cups, and the 8 of boons is the 8 of pentacles. This all. Okay. I also feel like called to roll the astro dice. This is just going to indicate any kind of astrological placements that are grabbing attention from other people that are on the surface or visible. First house makes a lot of sense. We also have Gemini, and we have Neptune. So the first thing I want to point out with the Astro Dice, with the first house, Gemini and Neptune, I do see that something that is very obvious to others is you have a very dreamy way of communicating. Something about the language that you use or how you speak or something along that lines. You might have a very dreamy voice, or a voice that is like dreamlike in essence. You might want to talk a lot, but talk about like Neptunian subjects. So you might kind of care for people through communicating with them. You might show you care to others by like your communication with them. Or it's just one of those things where it's like the way you talk kind of feels almost universal in a sense. It feels like everyone can kind of understand what you're saying, or everyone gets what you're saying. Even though you speak in a very dreamy way, it like caters to what we're all going through as a society. First house deals with your appearance, your body, the self. And so I do see that this is very much associated with who you are. I feel like people wouldn't confuse this aspect with anyone else. It's like a very much a you thing. It's something that makes you very unique. And I definitely think that it's a very signature thing for you. That's what I'm getting with the Astro Dice. So let me look at the rest of the cards and then we'll get into your reading. Okay, one thing that I'm seeing first with Scolecite, I'm an instrument of peace. One thing that people notice about you is you have a very peaceful aura. There's this vibe of like soothingness when people come into contact with you. They just feel like you kind of relax and ease them into a state of like receptivity is kind of what I'm seeing. Also with on target, follow your ideal life path and time to shine, create the energetic resonance for golden opportunities. Also with believe in your good luck, first quarter moon Sagittarius, there is this vibe that like people feel like you do have luck that kind of follows you around, that you do have kind of like, how do I put it, that you kind of get lucky with opportunities, or you get lucky in certain areas of life. People see that this luck kind of stems from your own following your own ideal life path. So an impression people could get of you if they're looking at you in a crowd, for example, is, wow, this person definitely follows their own way of being, right? Like the reason why you stand out is because, and what makes you unique is because you have a unique thing about you. It's like with follow your ideal life path, people believe that you're gonna do what you wanna do despite what everyone else is doing, right? In spite of what everyone else is doing, which is interesting because when people communicate with you, you have a very universal way of communicating. People are very much aware that, oh, this person is in touch with the times, they know what's going on. They're just choosing to be separate from it, right? It's like, so this is the type of person who's like very aware of what's going on in society, but they're choosing to be separate for a reason, right? Because they have their own specific life purpose and life path that they need to follow. That's what the people feel about you guys. With believe in your good luck, I feel like people believe that, or see that you believe in your own good luck. They think that your beliefs are a cause for a lot of the things you attract in your life. I think this group's giving me very much like people envy you kind of vibes. Like people envy your own belief systems, like how you believe in the universe and how good luck is attracted to you. People envy that. People are like, wow, I wish my beliefs created good luck in my life. Or they admire your faith, essentially. So a lot of you could be like religious in the traditional sense, and you just could believe in like a higher power like God, and you just, because you believe in it so strongly, good things just are attracted to you. For others of you, this could be a more spiritual outlook. It could be any religious outlook at all. Like, doesn't have to be one specific one. But I am saying that through your power of belief, you have good luck. So people see that like, wow, they're like blessed, right? People think that you're blessed. There's something about the way you move through the world too with an instrument of peace. You have this way of flowingly moving through the world and speaking where people feel like you're from another dimension is kind of the vibe that I'm getting, especially with this crown chakra right here. People feel like you could be from like another dimension, or you could be from somewhere, like maybe if people believe in aliens, there could be people who have approached you and like, I think you're an alien, or I think, you know, you have like an alien-esque like aspect to you. Fun fact, I've actually had someone tell me that one of my friends thought my whole family was aliens. But yeah, someone could say that exact same thing to you, where they think you're like you have like, maybe you have like alien or ethereal features or something like that, or you have features that make you seem like you come from another world. I see that the more you shine out this aspect of yourself, the more your uniqueness shines through, the more success you're going to be given in this life. This is just a little side thing coming through in this reading that even though this reading is about what makes you stand out, it's just saying that the more you stand out, the more success you'll achieve. So if you pick this pile and you're like, I don't want to stand out, I want to be hidden, I want to be hide away, you might have realized that kind of like the shyness that you have kind of makes opportunities slip through your fingers, or you're not able to get things in life because you're not making a full stamp on the world around you, right? I'm seeing that you guys might have that side to yourself, just because I see that you're very peaceful, you're very calm. So I feel like your own energy would be something that's very soothing for you. And so I feel like the thing is, the world wants you to like share that soothing energy with others, because you guys definitely have the wherewithal to do so. Let's get into the tarot cards here. I want to get into the court cards first. We have Keeper of Spells, King of Wands, Keeper of Boons, King of Pentacles, and Weaver of Visions, Queen of Cups. The first thing that I'm noticing is that people, when they notice you in like group situations or standing out from people see that you're ready to initiate into action. You might have an eager sense about you, that you might have this eagerness where it's like, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. There is this vibe here with Keeper of Boons. Also, people think you come from money. So that's something that makes you stand out. People think you have like more money than the average person around you. They might think that like, oh, that person compared to everyone else in this room has more money, or they're of a higher status. We do have 2 kings and a queen here, indicating that people see you as a higher status person, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. It's kind of what makes you stand out. Also with Keeper Boons, I see him as very jovial, like a jovial man who's kind of collected treasures his whole life, and he's just content with his collections and stuff like that. So people might see you as someone who's a collector of sorts, that you might collect specific objects or things. That's something that might make you stand out, is the fact that you have a collection of some kind. Also with Keeper of Spells, the fact that you're ready to engage in life whenever life comes up. I see this as something you've like mastered. Adventure is kind of what I'm seeing in this lifetime. You guys have mastered this adventurous side to you. With Weaver of Visions, this is because it's a queen card, it's not standing out as much as the king. So I'm not seeing people, I think first people would notice that your collections that you collect, like, oh wow, you have so many of this, or you have so many of that. Or with Keeper of Spells here, they might say like, oh wow, you're really down to do anything. You're really ready to go, right? I think that all these things are like what make you stand out. I feel like other people aren't as ready to engage in activities as you are. And also other people are not so prone to collecting things like you do. I think your collections are kind of like very impressive to other people who just start collecting the same thing you're collecting. They look at your collections and they're like, whoa, you've amassed so much, right? With Weaver of Visions, with this Queen of Cups energy, this is a side of you that not a lot of people see, is kind of what I'm seeing, but it is a side of you that some closer people to you see, and they see that as something that makes you stand out, as your intuition and your ability to have emotional ebbs and flows. I don't think everyone sees your emotional ebbs and flows, but I think your close friends see them. And that's something that makes you stand out to them, is there's this sense of moodiness. They might think you're the moody one in the group or something like that, but then when you talk to other random strangers about that, no one can pick up on that moodiness, right? They just see this kind of gentle, universal way of speaking, and they see that you have this like lucky, there's something very much about this group. There's this vibe of like just blessed energy, where people think you're blessed or lucky. And some of you might even be thinking like, man, I don't have any good luck. Like good luck never happens to me. But people just assume that. People just assume that you have good luck happening to you. People might also, with the Two of Spells, think that you participate in some kind of like magical ritual to attract wealth your way. So people see you as someone who is, especially people who are tuned in on the spiritual wavelength, they think you're manifesting things like all the time. And even if you're not, even if you're just being yourself and you're not doing too much manifestation work, I'm seeing that they think you're manifesting a lot of things all the time. With Nine of Spells here, people see you as like protected from life. They see you as kind of like the golden child that's like protected, is kind of what I'm seeing. But because we have the kings here, it's almost like you're the golden, like, authority, essentially, that you're kind of protecting people because you have this sense of inner authority about you. Eight of Boons just shows that you guys are really hard workers, and a lot of this stuff that like comes to you, all this success that people are seeing, it's stuff that comes in cycles. So for example, I think you guys get little intuitive downloads with this crown chakra and the first quarter moon in Sagittarius about good things coming into your life. And even if you guys aren't really aware of this, if you really tuned in, you would be able to feel this. It's like when life is going through cycles, when you guys realize, when you've completed a process and you're about to start a new process or do something different, there is kind of a feeling you guys are going to have, and it's associated with starting the project, basically, or starting the next thing, because we have first quarter moon here. It's associated with when the ball starts to get rolling. There could be a feeling that you get, like a download of a feeling, or just a feeling you're experiencing that shows you like what the what you're working on, or the next phase of your life is going to bring you, that like what reward it's going to bring you. This would be a great time for divination, and you know, either watching picket cards, or if you have your own tarot cards, even better, right? I'm seeing that like in these moments, especially with it's the first quarter moon, if you have a moment where it's the first quarter moon, that would be a great time to practice divination, because I see that the ball is already rolling on something or a cycle that you're about to go through. And so the tarot cards can easily predict the outcome of that because it's already started. It's enough of the cycles already started where it can like lead to something, if that makes sense. It's like a storyline, right? It's like, if we have a whole bunch of books in life, right, and you're picking up and you're reading one book, when the last chapter closes and you're done with the book, there's like this emptiness, right? That's not the best time. The cards are saying for you, that's not the best time to, how do I put it? Look into what's coming next. The best time is once you've already started opening the next book. It seems kind of counterintuitive because honestly, when you've put one book aside, you're trying to think, okay, what book do I want to read next, right? What book do I want to see? But the cards are, you'll probably get readings that are like, what's it called? They might be jacked up, or they might not make too much sense because you haven't started the next section of your life yet, right? Once you pick up another book, and I think that picking up the book part happens on accident. So when you're in this moment of like not knowing what to do, I feel like you guys pick up this next book on accident. And when it starts, that would be the best time. When you start feeling the momentum going, that's the best time to like do some tarot readings on what's happening in your life, or do whatever kind of, look at astrology or look at charts or something like that. I think it's going to all click and make more sense because it'll be putting the readings to something that's actually going on. Even if the book even if you're starting the book and like, say the location of the story starts in like New York and it ends in California, you might end up somewhere totally different than the path that you're on. But because you're on a path, you already got the ball rolling. The cards will tell you where it's going to end up, basically. Just a little fun, helpful tip. I just wanted to share that with you guys because I think it was important to share. But overall, the way people see you is, and what they don't see, it's almost like what they don't see with this Eight of Boons is the fact that like things happen in cycles for you, right? They think that like when you're achieving things, right? And it's kind of like your guys' attitude about it. It's like when you guys are really like achieving a lot and when you're really attracting a lot of good luck your way, I see that you guys are kind of nonchalant about it, or that you don't put out energy that like makes it a big deal, right? You're like, oh, this is not a big deal. So people just assume it happens to you all the time, because when you are attracting good luck, you're just very nonchalant about it. You're like, no big deal, no, you know, it's kind of like this kind of stuff happens to me all the time. You might say something along those lines. There's a vibe that like you guys let the good stuff kind of roll off your shoulder. I think what people don't see is that you guys you possibly hold on to some negative things. I'm seeing this with the Weaver of Visions. This is why I'm saying close friends can see this. I think close friends can see your emotional ups and downs, and they can see that you have pessimistic attitudes as well as optimistic attitudes. But people who don't know you that well are just going to see you very optimistically. Like they're going to see you as like, oh wow, they're a happy person, or things are attracted to them, or look how adventurous they are, like they're down for anything. I'm seeing this kind of vibe of like you guys having this like happy outer appearance, basically. And I am an instrument of peace. I want to reiterate this. The main thing people see about you is that you're a peaceful energy, right? People don't feel antagonistic. They might feel a little jealous of you, but they would never like act out on those jealous feelings or put you in a position where you would feel inferior or anything like that, because they see you as a very peaceful person. You guys have a way almost with this Neptune and Gemini here in the first house, pacifying others with your voice. Also, you guys might have very dreamy hands or dreamy arms or something like that with the Gemini here. But there's something about leading with this aspect, leading with your voice, leading with your appearance or something like that, that like really draws people in. With the first house here, people could just be drawn to your appearance in general. I think that's all I've got for you, Group 1. Thank you for letting me read for you. If you enjoyed the reading, please like or comment below. If you really liked the reading and you resonated with my energy, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers here. And with that said, we're going to move on to the next group. Thank you guys again for letting me read for you. It was an honor and a pleasure. I will see you guys in the next pick a card. Bye. Hey, Group 2, this if you picked the Tangerine Quartz right here, this lovely little orange cluster. So if you pick the Tangerine Quartz, this is your group. Let's get started. So I'm gonna get started with this Moonology Manifestation deck. And this card wants to come out. We have Take Inspired Action, Full Moon in Virgo. Then I wanna get a Making Magic Oracle card. We have Fire, okay. And then I also want to get a Crystal Wisdom card. We have 2 that popped up. First we have this lovely orange stone, which is called Orpiment, and this says success. I'm successful in all that I do. Then we also have this lovely green stone that popped up. This is Chrysoprase, and it says nurturing. I open and allow myself to be nurtured. I open up and allow myself to be nurtured. Okay. The camera's not straight. Okay. Okay, so let's get the tarot cards and we'll get into the reading. Okay, so we have 3 tarot cards that want to pop up right off the bat. I'm going to keep them over here. We have 6 of Visions, 7 of Boons, and the Forge, which is 6 of Visions is Cups, Boons is Pentacles, and the Forge is the Judgment card. Okay, let's see. Okay, this card was to come out. We have the Enchanter, which is the Magician. I'm going to draw the last 2. We have the Green Mother, which I believe is the Empress, and the Keeper of Challenges, which is the King of Swords. You guys are an interesting personality. My guess is that you perplex people. People are kind of confused by you. Oh yeah, I'm also going to roll the Astro Dice just to get a little more information, and then we'll get into the reading. We have Sagittarius, the 12th house, and Saturn. Yeah, that's what I was feeling. Okay. Yeah, one of the main things about your guys' personality is people are generally confused by you. That's something that makes you stand out. People go, wow, they're kind of confusing, or they're way more complicated than the average person, or something like that. There's something that is kind of confusing about you that kind of throws people into a little tizzy. And we're going to get into all of why that is in a second. Yeah, first of all, we're seeing the Green Mother, the Empress here, and the Keeper of Challenges, which is the King of Swords. There is this vibe that you have 2 distinct sides to your nature, essentially. And it's very crazy. I feel like you guys have a lot of conflicting elements in your astrology chart, or you might have a lot of every single element. You might not have like a heavy chart, or you might not have, what's those charts where it's like, I don't know the name of it, but it'll be like, here's the circle of the chart, and then you have most of your clusters are on opposite ends, right? Where you're having like a lot of oppositions in your chart or something like that. You guys might have a chart like that. Or like the areas that are opposing each other are like, there's a lot of differences in like elements and stuff. Okay, let me just get into what I'm seeing. So with the Green Mother and the Keeper of Challenges, there is this vibe that you guys have this really nurturing side of yourself. But it's in a way, it's like a facade is what I'm seeing. And I'll get into that in a second. But with also Keeper of Challenges, you have this logical side to yourself, right? That's very harsh and critical and is kind of like a tough love kind of approach. So I am seeing this vibe of like you alternating between these two roles, right? I am seeing a little bit that if no one is taking care of you, you stop taking care of others. It's kind of one of those vibes where you're just kind of like, if you're not going to give me what I need, or you're not going to nurture me emotionally, like why would I even bother nurturing you? You know, like why would I even take the time to like put my energy and effort into you if you're not going to put energy and effort into me? So you guys are the type of person where I feel like, especially with Saturn here, there's this vibe of karma, right? Where you guys are kind of a representation of karma in kind of like the truest sense of the word. So, for example, if no one's doing anything for you to help you, you're not going to help them. You're the type of person that what you give is what you get back in return, basically. I think that's why you're so multifaceted and why you can be confusing to others, because sometimes people are not expecting to get a taste of their own medicine, you know? That's kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. But let's get into some other aspects about you. So first of all, we have this fire card right here. It says the element of fire heralds new life, renewed passion, and positive transformation. One thing that I'm seeing that you guys have is a very combustible character, right? Your reactions might be stronger than what is given to you, essentially. So for example, if someone's harsh or cold with you or standoffish with you, you might be like twice or 3 times as standoffish with them. If someone's kind and considerate towards you, you might be like overly kind or considerate back towards them, or show even more kindness and consideration in their regard. Fire is kind of one of those things that like someone else could be the spark, but you're kind of like the fuel to the flame, basically, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. With Sagittarius here, I do see that you guys have like an adventurous temperament, and I do see that your adventures with the 12th house here come from moments when you're spending time alone. So for example, they're not going to come from someone else's idea of going on an adventure. You know, you're not going to find your adventure when you're like watching a YouTube video on like where to go, where to travel or something. It's not going to be something from outside yourself. It's going to come from deep within the depths of your own being. Deep within the depths of your own being, your intuition might share with you a place to go, or a journey to go to, or a journey to take. And what the things are saying here is that your intuition is going to point you out in these different directions. Now, what does this mean how you stand out to others, right? The thing that is coming through when you stand out to others is people see you at, like I mentioned, the confusing part, right? People do see you as a little confusing. That's because your ideas for adventures, your ideas for journeys in life, your ideas for the path in life is coming from within. So people can't see the motivation. That's kind of what makes you a little perplexing to others, because people see like, oh, how do they think of that? And it's like you could tell them like, I just thought of it, but people probably wouldn't believe you. They'd say, no, you must have read it somewhere. And you're like, no, it just came from my own head. It came from my own mind. It came to me when I was spending time alone. I think you guys are very honest and forthright, but you might not be viewed that way by others sometimes. With Take Inspired Action, people see that you definitely are someone who follows your gut, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. So people who are more intuitive and on an intuitive vibration, and then can believe that ideas can just come from within and not from without or outside yourself, people kind of see that you're like definitely an inspired person. You take inspired action, you follow your gut, you follow your heart, you follow your impulsiveness even. You let that impulsiveness guide you. And these people that are closer to you that see this, or these people that are on, that's the thing, it's like different people are going to see different parts of you, right? Like some more practical people, some more realistic people, some more people who are not in tune spiritually, are just going to see you kind of in a way as a little bit confusing, and almost like they might even view you as a liar of sorts. They might think, oh, this person's just lying, or this person's not telling the truth. But in reality, you are following your gut instincts. You're following your deeper self. You're following your deeper knowing. And you're following that as far as your adventures, your action, your activities. So people might see, if they're realistic, they might see a side of you that makes you stand out. They might think, wow, that person's really impulsive, or what a weird interest they have. Why would they have that interest? Why would they even do that? What would make them act that way? That's not a normal way to act. That you're probably gonna, people are probably thinking this a lot about you, is that's not a normal way to act. That's not a normal way to be, right? Other people who are intuitive and more on a spiritual vibration see that like what they're not perplexed. What's it called? They're intrigued. That's the word I'm looking for. They're intrigued. They're intrigued by your decisions. They're intrigued by your actions because they're saying that had to have come from somewhere. I wonder where. If it didn't come from outside, or it's not making sense to other people, it must make sense on a spiritual level. So people are very intrigued by you, basically on the actions that you take and the movements that you make through the world. There's something about the way you stand out is either very confusing or intriguing to people. And it's intriguing because it's confusing, right? Even spiritual people are confused by your actions. They're just more focused on, well, what is the real reason they did this? Why did they do this? And even if you try to tell them their process, because with the 12th house, this is a lot of stuff happening inside your own head. There's a lot of stuff happening in quote unquote the void. It's stuff that's not being able to be seen so easily. It's something that's happening in the unconscious. So the fact is people can't really tell where you're gonna go next. They can't see like what you're gonna do next. That's why it's coming off as kind of confusing. The thing with the enchanter here, people might see you as kind of like a wizard of sorts or dealing with the occult. You might have a way of making charms with the forge here, making like charms or objects to kind of heal others. You might have a business where you do crafts, or you might have a business where you make spiritual products for others, like maybe you craft candles for other people or spells or something like that, or maybe you sell crystals or something like that. I am saying that you have this way of building materials and enchanting materials specifically that people are drawn to or that they notice about you right away. Like maybe you adorn yourself with specific objects that people think are like magical or enchanted or something like that. So that's something that people notice about you. I think if anyone's ever purchased one of these objects, they'll definitely have good things to say, because I feel like you guys really put your all into these things that you give to others. You really put your full energy into them, and they come out the other end. People, how do I put this? People find these objects very, very helpful. Even realistic people, if they ever get so intrigued, right? If they're just like, man, I'm just intrigued and now I want to buy one of these things, right? They might even find that these objects have a weird magical effect on their life, basically. With Six of Visions, people might notice you're very focused on the past. So for example, people might see you as someone who's very like daydreamy in general, but the most thing that I'm seeing here, because the one thing that it kind of conflicts with King of Swords, right? Because this daydreaming energy kind of conflicts with this really rational side of yourself that kind of gives you this harder edge that could take away from the dreaminess of your personality. But the thing is like, or they could be both entwined in you at the same time. Like I said, the main thing that what makes you stand out is like a confusing nature. Like people are confused by you, basically. But yeah, with Six of Visions, people notice that you're very focused on the past, right? So you might dress and like style yourself from a time that's not in the modern time. So for example, say there's some style that you liked from the 80s or something. Maybe you dress like someone from the 80s, or maybe you dress like someone from the 60s or the 70s. It's from some style that's not in today's society, basically. Yeah, people with the Saturn energy here too, people might realize sooner or later that your life is full of hardships. One thing that makes you stand out is you have a lot more hardships than the average person. You might have a more difficult life path than the average person. There's something along those lines coming into play as well. I'm going to go back over here with the Empress and the King of Swords just to get more in touch with this aspect of you. With the Green Mother here, there is this aspect of your personality that's very nurturing and feels like a mother to those around you. Also with this Child here, I feel like you want the roles to reverse often with this aspect. Like you want to take care of someone, but you also want someone to take care of you. You want these roles to, you're like a caregiving switch hitter, right? Like, you can think of, what's it called? Like in the Dom sub community, there's like switches who are like subs and Doms. But think of this as like how you want to take care of people versus them taking care of you and stuff like that. It's kind of in that realm. It's like you want to be a caregiver to others, but you also want care received to you. And I think that there's a delicate balance here, right? Because also there's this aspect that you're highly logical, you're highly intelligent, and I feel like you have a colder edge to you as well. So for example, I feel like when people are showing you care and affection, you would show them care and affection back. But if they don't supply a detached side to themselves, you'll get a little overwhelmed because they're too caring. It's like there's too much care, there's too much consideration. You need to see some detachment from them. You need to see some logical sides from them in order for you to refuel that side of you that wants to care for them again, if that makes sense. So yes, you give back what you get, but also if you're getting too much of one thing from others, you get overwhelmed by trying to give back too much of that same thing in return. So if you guys are around too many people who are very caring, kind, considerate, you guys actually, even though you enjoy that energy, there is this vibe that on the flip side, you get overwhelmed with having to give it back to people. It's like, man, do I have to keep being kind and considerate back to them? Do I have to keep giving back to them? And you get in this kind of loop, right? And so it makes you distance yourself from these people because you're looking for something more cold, detached, more analytical. And so I do see that, like, when you go into yourself and you get this kind of detached analytical view, I think that when you're around people who discuss analytical things, it's the same exact thing, right? You could be around people who are discussing analytical topics, right? Or being cold or detached towards you, or giving you the standoffish, the cold shoulder, which makes you want to be detached towards them, but it also gives you this sense of peace of mind, right? Because you don't have to be nurturing all the time. You don't have to overwhelm yourself with overly nurturing others. So I do see this vibe of like a delicate balance. I hope I'm explaining this right, because I am seeing this delicate balance between these two things. It's like the motherly aspects of yourself and the fatherly aspects of yourself all rolled into one person. You guys might even have like things about your gender or your sexual orientation where you're either bisexual, or people say you're a woman, people say you have a masculine side, say you're a man, people say you have a feminine side, but then at the same time, they don't rush to call you like the opposite sex that you are, because they're kind of like, they know that there's two sides to you, right? They're like, you're kind of ambiguous, right? You confuse people. That's the thing. Like, you confuse people and they're very like perplexed by that. With Orpiment and Chrysoprase, I am successful in all that I do, and I open up and allow myself to be nurtured. I am seeing that you guys have a lot of success in this lifetime, a lot of success coming to you. One thing that people see about you is they wish you would have had success earlier, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. They wish you would have had success earlier, but you guys do have a lot of success coming to you, even if it does happen later in life. And with I open up and allow myself to be nurtured, part of this energy too, with the nurturing mother and the King of Swords, right? There is this vibe here of learning that you can go ahead and care for and nurture some of these people who are more analytical and logical. You're allowed to nurture them, and you're allowed to be analytical and logical with people who nurture you, right? You don't always have to give back exactly what you receive. You don't always have to be a perfect mirror to others, right? Because I'm seeing people are not necessarily, the thing that makes people less confused in a connection is sometimes when they get the opposite from someone is kind of the vibe that's coming through. So if you guys want to stand out less, if you want to become less confusing, I would say a good piece of advice would be to give some nurturing aspects to yourself to people who are standoffish towards you, and even give some standoffish side to yourself to people who are more overly nurturing towards you, right? I think that can play a role in like downplaying your uniqueness, essentially, to the point where you can blend in better with people. With Seven of Boons here, this is something that is quite interesting. We have all these doors here, and it just reminds me of the adage of like, you never know what you're gonna get. Like, you could open a door and something could pop out, but then you open another door and it's gonna be something different. There is this vibe here. Another vibe that I'm getting with all these doors here is you could move your home a lot. You could move from one house to another house to a next house. You could just have like a traveling vibe to you. And I am seeing this tie in a little bit with this 12th house and the Sagittarius energy. You guys could have this vibe where your moves, where you want to move to, comes from within. It comes from an inner knowing of like what's next in life, right? With Take Inspired Action, full moon in Virgo, I see that the fullest brim of this manifestation is what's happening in your own mind, right? It's like when you get to this location, not that you're disenchanted with it or that it's not what you expected. It's exactly what you expected. It's just you've already manifested the perfect home in your mind. So when you get there, it's like you just fit in really easily. It's like you kind of blend in perfectly, and it's already feels like at home. People might realize that like you very much adapt to new locations really easily. Like, you don't stress about a new location. Like, you're there, that's what it is, and you're in this place, right? So people realize you don't have this kind of like, you have this kind of like side of yourself that is kind of adaptable as well. Another thing here with the Seven of Boons, it does represent the Seven of Pentacles in traditional tarot. The imagery is a little bit different. The Seven of Pentacles in tarot is a man looking at a plant that's not growing, right? He has to be patient with the plant to see the fruits of his labor grow, or he's about to harvest, right? He's like looking and waiting for this plant to, it's like watching a pot, what's that called phrase? Watching a pot boil, right? But with the Seven of Boons here, I am seeing this vibe of like, maybe you have to wait to do things sometimes, or that you have to like, things take a while to complete. And I see that that could be something that gets in the way of your moves or your journeys to move somewhere. Maybe sometime you have to tie up loose ends, or you have to wait for the right time or maybe you're waiting for the right, drop in tickets for plane prices or something like that. And so you buy an airplane ticket when it's like really low or something like that, like the price is really low. And so you're just waiting for that. But with Take Inspired Action, I see that if you guys always follow this inner gut that you have, you will always land in the right location, always the right place. With I'm successful in all that I do, you guys will always be successful. You will always find success in your life. You just have to follow that gut instinct. Remember, you guys are naturally a fiery person. Even though you might see yourself and other people see these sides of you of being really nurturing and very logical, there is this underlying fire in your belly. You do have this kind of passionate side to you, and people see that. That's something that makes you stand out as well, is this sense of passion to you. Like I said, you guys are very multifaceted. People are very confused by you because they want to pigeonhole you. They want to put you in a box and they can't do it. That's what makes you stand out. Let me see if I see anything else real quick. With the 12th house and 6 of Visions, one thing that I'm seeing, I don't know if I touched on this when I talked about the 6 of Visions, but you guys might have a very active inner dream world, right? It's just reminding me with the 12 being above 6 of Visions, and part of this comes from your childhood. It's like your dream world has like been the same since you were a child. It's something along the lines of like you've always gone into your head to relax, to recharge, to go there. So people might see you in your head a lot as well. That might be something that makes you stand out. I am seeing this as something that comes across more to close friendships, people who are closer to you. So keep that in mind. Yeah, it's interesting. I want to say you guys have a dreamy nature, but I also know that this King of Swords energy is coming through so strongly. So I almost want to say that like you guys might feel or identify with having a dreamy nature, but people on the outside might not see that you have a dreamy nature. They might not think you're that dreamy, even though you identify with being a dreamy type person. People might not think you're dreamy because they see this kind of analytical side to yourself that pops up all the time, basically. And then it's the nurturing part could be considered dreamy too, but it's like with the nurturing, it's more considered like caring is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. And so people see this kind of vibe of you where it's like, the main thing that I'm seeing, if you want to stand out less, if you want to come off as less confusing to others, is the main thing with Keeper of Challenges and the Green Mother is showing a little bit of care and consideration when people are standoffish. And then when people are caring towards you, go ahead and show a little bit of standoffishness. And I think that'll do wonders for like evening out how you stand out. Because for some people in this group, they don't want to stand out is kind of what I'm seeing. For others of you, you don't mind standing out so much. You're not afraid to let your freak flag fly, right? So yeah, with that said, I'm going to end the reading there. If you guys enjoyed this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers to this channel. I'm getting so tongue-tied now by the end of this reading. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to end the reading there. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. We're going to move on to the next group. Thank you for letting me read for you. It was an honor. It was a pleasure. You're a very unique person. You deserve to be recognized for that uniqueness. Even though sometimes people see you as kind of confusing, I think you guys are an amazing person. You're a wonderful person. You have a lot of success coming your way, and you really have a very caring soul to you deep down inside. So yeah, with that said, I'm going to bid you guys adieu, and I'll see you in the next pick a card. Bye. Hey, group 3, this is if you picked the Smokey Elestial right here. That was cool. It shined right there. Look at that. Cool. Okay, so let's get into your reading. I got a little loopy at the end of the last group, so hopefully I can keep reading today. Yeah, let's see. Let's draw your manifestation immunology card. I like to do my readings back to back. I know some readers take breaks or do different days. I've done that before, but I tend to like to just film the reading like all within one swoop. Let's see what your Moonology card says about what makes you stand out. We have Lighten Up. Okay. And let's get you a Making Magic card. What Making Magic cards want to come out for group 3 for what makes them stand out? Okay, we had a lot flip out. I'm just going to take the top one. We have the elements. The elements of fire, earth, air, and water combine to create powerful protective boundaries, spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. And then let's get some crystal wisdom cards for you guys. Let's see. Crystal wisdom. These two kind of flipped up. Now these two flipped up, but they weren't like very aggressively flipping up. I want to keep that, but I'm taking them because I felt like they needed to be taken. But these might be aspects of yourself that apply in the reading that might be parts of yourself that you don't like about yourself. So we'll get into that in a second. This is what your crystal looks like. And we have Opal here, which says, my soul sings and dances to the vibration of joy. And we also have this card, which this is the crystal, and it is Dioptaz, and says, love, I am love, and love is me. So one thing this could represent is that you guys have a hard time feeling joy or something like that, or you have a hard time letting yourself be happy or feeling loved or feeling like you are an epicenter of love. We see a lot of pink on this card. So it could be something that you grew into that was difficult for you, that you had to adapt to being that way. But let's get more cards, then I'll get into the reading, basically. I'm gonna get some tarot cards on the table, and then more will be clear, probably. Okay, we have Two of Boons. The card flips, but then it like got stuck. I just want to show you guys. It got stuck there. Okay, Ace of Challenges. I'm gonna put it right there because it's in the center of the deck. The core of your being. Oh yeah, Ace of Challenges, that makes sense. Ace of Challenges, so your core is very logical. So, very opposite of the cup energy. Okay, let's draw the rest of the cards. We have 8 of Spells, we have 6 of Spells, we have 10 of Challenges, and we have 3 of Spells. Let's make sure all of these are... Sorry if you guys can hear that fan in the background. I'm trying out, I watched one of my videos recently and I heard the air conditioning. I'm like, oh my God, it's so loud. It's just like so loud. So I'm trying the fan instead, and I'm closing my door. So the air's on, I'm just closing the door that's like next to the vent by where my studio is. So yeah, let me get some, we're gonna roll some astro dice and we'll get into your reading. Scorpio, the moon, and the 12th house. Okay. Another thing I really quickly want to mention about these cards here, it might be that these cards are coming out as aspects of yourself that you might want to grow into in the future, or they're aspects of yourself that you probably have, but you're not like proud of. So for example, I am love and love is me. You guys might not feel like you want to be the most lovey like people. You might feel that like maybe love is a weakness, or that love, maybe you've been hurt sometime in love and you feel like love is not worth fighting for, or something like that. With my soul sings and dances to the vibration of joy, you guys might feel like you do not identify as a joyful person, right? But what I'm seeing here with these cards is there is a whole element that you are a joyful person. You just probably don't identify as it, if that makes sense. That's kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. With Ace of Challenges, you guys have this way of being very logical inwardly. Like this card came up as being like the center of your being is very, very logical, right? That's probably why you don't feel, how do I put it? Like super lovey or super like emotional. And also we see in these cards right here, we don't have any visions cards, which are the cups cards. We just have challenges, boons, and spells. And so we have fire energy, earth energy, and air energy, but not that much water energy. The only water energy that's present is in your astro dice. We have Scorpio, right? And we have that next to the moon in the 12th house. The moon sometimes I see as something that's looking out for you. This is kind of like a interpretation I've sort of developed on my own and from random readings and stuff, but like I see the moon as someone who's looking out for you. I feel like with this Scorpio energy, there could be a zodiac sign or a placement in your chart that's like that's dealing with Scorpio. That could be something that's looking out for you, or a part of your chart that like balances you out in such a way where it just really helps your whole situation. But with Scorpio here, I do see that you guys are a deep thinker. You have like a depth to you. And with the moon card here, this depth of like, how do I put it? This depth to your personality is something that really, how do I put this? It's kind of your saving grace, and just being around other people who are deep thinkers in general are going to be like helpful to you, if that makes sense. Another interpretation of this is with the moon and Scorpio here. I feel like people see you as someone who is taken care of by loving and nurturing energy, right? You guys might actually receive loving and nurturing energy in the best way that's kind of intense, right? That has an intense vibe to it with Scorpio here. You might need that like deep feeling love or that deep passionate love. The Scorpio energy, I'm going to be honest, is coming through as someone who you possibly could be in a good committed partnership with. For example, if you guys... like, I don't know how you feel about Scorpios personally, because I'm not you, but it's basically saying that like having someone with like Scorpio sun, moon, or rising, I think Scorpio moon would be good, but someone who has a Scorpio placement in their top 3 could be very beneficial to you, or someone who has a lot of water placements in their chart, and specifically Scorpio, could be beneficial partners for you guys because it would help you get in touch with yourself, because I see that you're a very deep person, you're a very serious person, and Scorpio is emotional and intuitive in a very deep way as well. With 10 of challenges, people feel like you've been through a lot. They feel like you've been through a lot in life. You've had a tough time. 10 of challenges is the 10 of swords. It can talk about being like 10 of swords typically talks about being like, can be talked about being betrayed by a group or being backstabbed or something like that. The guy has like 10 swords in his back, and so it's like every single person in the group stabbed him, right? The thing with the 10 of challenges in this deck, he's kind of off his horse, right? He's like taking a break, and his sword's bent and broken. He's taken off his armor, and he's just thinking. Like, this guy is just in pensive thought. He's like, what have I done? Where am I going? It's just like this pensiveness, and it's right next to the Ace of Challenges, indicating that like, and the Ace of Challenges is looking over here, right? There's this vibe here that your logical side could get the better of you, right? It could make you feel down, or it could make you feel tired, or it could make you feel depressed. There could be an element where maybe you're thinking about something a great deal, or maybe you ponder things a great deal to the point where you're almost out of the woods, right? Like, you're almost there, right? But if he just got back on his horse and kept going, the woods would be clear, right? There'd be like clarity ahead, right? You see this person with these candles, and that could even just be the illumination that you're looking for, right? There's this vibe that people see you as kind of lost in the woods. People think like, man, if they just kept going, like, they would get out of this predicament. Like, they just need to get back on their horse and keep moving forward, you know? There's this vibe here that, how do I put this? People see you as someone that if you just got into action, you could keep moving forward, basically. They see you as someone who's taking too much time out to think, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. They see you as overly pensive, overly logical, overly, in a way, almost like unproductive, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Also, with last quarter moon and Leo, lighten up. I feel like you guys, people might want you, or the way that you come across is like, how do I put this? People might approach you and tell you to lighten up, or they might say like, hey, cheer up, buddy, or, you know, so they may take like a very superficial approach to like engaging your emotions, right? Specifically with last quarter moon and Leo, they might take a very air sign or fire sign approach to engaging with your emotions. When we see here with the Scorpio energy, you need really deep and considered emotional like attention, essentially, to get you to start lightening up, quote unquote, lightening up, right? And it's horrible when people say that to you, like, you know, come on, smile. Like, it's like, you know what? You don't know what I'm going through. Like, don't tell me to smile, you know? So I feel for you guys on that. With Two of Boons, I think you guys are great at managing money. I think you're great at managing resources. I think you guys are hard workers. With Eight of Spells here, I do feel like people see this aspect of you, that you are kind of in a way like a messenger is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Like you have this way of like sharing news that's kind of reminds people of like a message, like, huh, I didn't know that, or that's in new information. It's kind of like enlightening is kind of what I'm saying. With Six of Spells here, this is coming through as like something that your close friends are going to see you as. With Six of Spells, we have all these dwarves centered around this baby dragon. I don't know if I can show you guys. There's like a baby dragon, and they're also happy to see this baby dragon. The baby dragon's like lighting up. I see this as something that your close friends see in you. This is something that people are just amazed at how they're perplexed by you. You know how like a parent watches a baby, like a toddler, and like a family like at a gathering watches a toddler, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Babies are so amazing, you know? I feel like people see you in the joyous light of like seeing a baby child or a brand new child, basically, that's just awakened into this world. People have this view of you that you kind of look like a puppy, or that you kind of have a puppy aspect to you, if that makes sense. So basically people see you as kind of cute and adorable, especially people in your inner circle. I'm saying that this is people who have gotten to know you a little bit and you've shown up a little bit more of yourself. With Lighten Up here, this is coming through as something that, because with this group, something that makes you stand out is something about being too logical or too in your head or too, you know, even with these like messages coming through that you guys bring, this is like the positive side of it, right? You guys are a pretty good worker. You balance your activities pretty well. You don't like let one overtake the other. Basically, you have a good, like, how do I put it? You prioritize very effectively. And with Eight of Spells, you might deliver like beautiful news of information, like sharing certain information with people that people appreciate, and it gets other people into action, right? You might be very stimulating as a person. But with this Ace of Challenges and 10 of Challenges, your core, because it's very logical, keeps you into this pensive energy where you think and think and think and think. And really you just need to get back on that horse and get out of the woods, right? But the thing is like, that's what like most people see in you, right? That you're just kind of like a thinker, that you don't like do anything besides think. But with Lighten Up, I see your close friends. One thing that I'm seeing too is if you want people that are like strangers to view you in a less unique way, if you just like shared a joke every once in a while with some strangers or something like that, I think that those people would lighten up and be like, oh, this person's more normal, right? Or this person has a lighter side to them. Yeah, I think that would help you if you're trying not to stand out as much. If you are trying to stand out more with strangers, I think that people are just kind of, you know, they're going to keep approaching you and trying to get you to lighten up because they see you as this logical person. They see you as someone who needs that, right? But if you go ahead and take, what's it called? Because I'm saying some of you don't like the attention. It's kind of what I'm saying, because I'm getting a very much an introvert vibe from this group. I'm saying that a lot of you don't like standing out because you don't like the attention. One thing that I'm seeing here with Lighten Up is if you crack the joke first, right? That puts the energy on them, right? The energy is not on you anymore. The energy is on them. And so with last quarter moon in Leo, if you engage a little bit of your entertaining side, we see that you have that in you too. You have a lot of fire energy. In fact, most of your cards are fire cards. You only have 2 logic cards or 2 challenge cards. So one thing that I'm seeing is if you turn on the entertainer with other people, you can put, how do I put this? They will stop kind of trying to get you to brighten up, and you can get them to brighten up, and it can get the pressure off your back, basically, of people trying to figure you out or trying to brighten your day or telling you to smile or something like that. It gets the kind of the pressure off your back is kind of what I'm saying. And with your close friends, people love that entertaining side of you. I think you really lighten up and bring this side of yourself open with close friends, and I think people view you as kind of like the, how do I put it? It's like when you get a brand new puppy or you get a brand new newborn and you're like playing with the baby and like the baby's like, you're playing peekaboo with the baby or something. There's this vibe of like with the Six of Spells here that people view you as like a child in that way. And they see you as very entertaining, like the child that entertains the older members of the family. Let's see what else I'm seeing. With this, I'm going to go back to these cards real quick. With Opal, my soul sings and dances to the vibration of joy, and Dioptize, I am love and love is me. I think these are energies that you're going to grow into. And these are going to be energies that are going to make you stand out in the future, right? I think eventually you guys are going to become so loving and filled with love that you become a beacon of love to others, that you guys have this way of brightening other people's days because you are able to share love with them as much as they're able to share love with you. You're able to receive love and give love in a very free-flowing way. With the Three of Spells over here, she's lit these candles and she sent them off into the universe. I am seeing something that could benefit you in this situation is sending like prayers or messages out into the universe. So for example, you could, something that could be beneficial too is writing letters. If you're nervous about sharing love with someone, writing a love letter to them could be beneficial. Or writing them messages in text, like saying loving messages in text or expressing your love through text messages. With Three of Spells here, the interesting thing here is that sending like energy, if you're spiritual people, I know a lot of you are very logical, but if you have a spiritual side, sending messages out to the universe, like to a higher being or something like that, I think in expressing love to that higher being, they're going to start sending love your way, not through just like general signs, like, like a dove flying by your window, but in the form of actual people and experiences that are going to be reflecting that love back at you, right? It's just a matter of manifesting that love into your life. And I actually don't know if you guys are ready for that right now. I feel like you guys might, how do I put this? You might not be ready for that kind of love right now, but when you are ready for it, you just have to ask the universe, send it out there, and it'll start coming back to you in the form of people, experiences, even places and things and environments and stuff like that. With My Soul Sings and Dances to the Vibration of Joy, I definitely think when you're with your close friends, the thing that makes you stand out the most is the fact that you are this joyous person, or you have this ability to kind of like brighten up a room is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. With the elements, this is kind of what ties everything together. And it says the elements of fire, air, earth, and water combine to create powerful protective boundaries, spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. I think there's this well-rounded aspect to you, what I'm getting with this card, and that's kind of one of the keys to solidifying the whole picture, or to getting you to stand out in the ways that you would like when you want people to notice you, and also having you be subdued when you don't want people to notice you. I think having a well-balanced personality is important. So focusing with the elements, right? We have an element regarding each aspect. So you have like fire, air, earth, and water. I'm also thinking of like the traditional 4 components in like in Myers-Briggs theory, where it's like sensory, thinking, feeling, what's the other one? Intuition. And getting anything with a balance, right? Like it's basically becoming well-rounded in your personality. So even though you might have a very strong logical core, or a very strong aspect of yourself that's very like logical and thinking and pensive, I'm seeing that like if you become more well-rounded, if you add in some emotion, if you add in some passion, if you add in some practicality, if you add in all these things and you add these things into your life, start engaging with this balancing act, you guys have the ability to balance a lot of different activities. People see this in you already. They're like, wow, they can really do all these different things in their life, and they keep it really well balanced, and they have this ability to keep everything in flow, right? I'm seeing that if you guys do a little bit of everything, right? And it'll keep you more well-rounded, and it'll help even out your personality, basically. I think too, once your personality is very well-rounded and evened out, I think a lot of people are going to be attracted to you, specifically with this love energy and this sending this love out. I think the more balanced you are, it's just another component, but I think you could really attract a wonderful partner. With this Scorpio energy, I am seeing a partner who does have a lot of Scorpio placements. And with this moon card, I see someone kind of taking care of you. With the Six of Spells energy too, this is the vibe of like a community taking care of a baby, right? And I do see that in the long run, you're going to have someone who's very much a person who takes care of you guys, right? Someone who, and taking care of might be the wrong word. It's someone who really has deep, powerful, passionate emotions. They can infect you with those, and they can stimulate you into action is kind of what I'm seeing. It's someone who can get you out of this logical cloud where you're stuck in the woods and move you into action, move you into opportunity with this Eight of Spells and Two of Boons. It's like moves you into a more lighter energy, which is interesting because it's going to require something deep and cathartic and passionate. Those kinds of emotions, those deep, powerful, penetrating emotions, in order to get you to lighten up in a more playful way, right? Because really you guys are a pretty serious person is what I'm seeing. And it's going to take someone with serious emotions to get you to loosen up a little bit. The one thing I didn't cover is this 12th house, and I just want to point out, if life seems too stressful, maybe you just need some time alone. 12th house can talk about isolation or needing time alone. I think that, especially with this Scorpio and Moon energy here, I think you and your partner are going to spend a lot of time alone when you meet and when you get together. I think that like your time together alone, away from people, is going to be very beneficial in like bridging the gap and going through that process of healing with each other. Okay, I'm going to end the reading there. If you guys like this reading, please like or comment below. And if you really enjoy this reading, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers here at Cody Tarot. And with that said, I really enjoyed reading for you. It was an honor. It was a pleasure. I will see you guys in the next pick a card. And goodbye. And I want to say good night because it's nighttime where I am. So good night. Hey, group 4. This is if you picked the Prehnite, this lovely green stone. So, yes, I bought more Prehnite. It's not in the shape of grapes. This is what it looks like tumbled when you buy it for a little bit of a cheaper price. Okay, so let's see. We got to get a Moonology card to see what makes you stand out amongst people. Why do you stand out? Why does group 4 stand out amongst people? This card kind of wants to come out. We have first quarter moon in Scorpio, release your blocks. And then I'm going to get a making magic card. I'm going to draw this one actually. And we have little luxuries, generates luxurious experiences and surroundings. I already like you guys. Okay, so let's see. I already like this group. This card wants to come out. We have this card right here, and it is Golden Calcite. It says, I am inspired in all that I do. And we're going to get some tarot cards, last but not least, and then we'll get right into your reading. Oh yeah, well, I'm also going to pull the Astro Dice, so technically these aren't last, but... Okay, what tarot cards need to come out for group 4 to talk about how they stand out? We have Keeper of Visions, which is the King of Cups. Okay, I'm going to draw the rest. And then we have Nine of Visions, Folly, which is the Tower, Sunlight, which is the Sun, Starlight, which is the Star, and Four of Visions. And let's roll the Astro Dice. And we have Scorpio, Saturn in the first house. Let's move these. There we go. That was bothering me. Okay, you guys need to have a chat with group 3. If you're watching with a friend and someone picked group 3, I feel like this is like the person that's the counterpoint to group 3. Like this is the person who's like the mate for that person, or this is someone who would be a soulmate for group 3. It's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So it's just cool for me to see the opposite side of the spectrum and then read for that. So let's get into it. First thing that I want to point out with the Folly and Saturn here, you guys are no stranger to hardship. You've had a lot of hardships in your life. You've had a lot of hard things happen to you. You've been in really tough, dark situations. But the truth is, with the Sunlight card and the Starlight card here, you guys keep your chin up, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. You keep your chin up and you have faith in the future. It's kind of what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that you may have had to leave certain things behind and it could have hurt you a lot. But the thing that I'm seeing is you always keep a bright, optimistic, positive attitude, even though you've had a lot of hardships. It's really hard because I think that part of me feels like you guys have two sides to yourself, right? You have one side that on the surface extends patience to others who've been through hardships. And then underneath, you're kind of thinking to yourself, like, well, I kind of have had it harder than you, and I still keep a cheery facade. You know, like I still am bright and cheerful, and I still remain positive, even though I've had more hardships than, you know, it's like you guys have had like a tough go of it, but you're not complainers, right? Like you're not someone who's just gonna like whine and complain about what's going on in their life, even if it's nothing that much. If that makes sense. Does that make sense, guys? Hopefully that makes sense. You guys also have the Scorpio energy here, which is representing you guys. It's like you have this intense, passionate, and I think these hardships provide a seriousness to your character that like underlies the bright, cheerful exterior. But with the sunlight card here and the starlight card, I am seeing that this bright exterior, like people, one thing people notice about you is you are a ball of joy, right? Like you radiate happiness, you radiate positivity, you radiate enthusiasm. That's something that I'm seeing really clearly here. With Four of Visions, I think that you guys might get into slumps where you feel bored. But the thing is, the universe will send you messages that, not necessarily to get up and move or to take action, but with the Four of Visions, and this might be, I'm jumping ahead, this might be something that's more in your private time that people don't really see about you. But this is just, I'm reading this first so you guys can like, you're not like, what? I'm a bright, enthusiastic. I'm bored all the time, right? But this Four of Visions addresses that boredom. Right, it's saying that even though you have moments of downtime where you don't know what to do, you don't know what to experience in life, you feel bored, you feel lethargic, you could feel even possibly very lazy at times. With this bird flying in front of this guy, I do see the universe sends you signs, not necessarily to get you moving, just signs to so you're not alone is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I think when you guys feel really depressed or lethargic or lazy or bored or apathetic, you might feel like nothing lights up your soul, but in those moments, that's when the universe is sending you your most powerful signs. And I think you guys realize that. I think you guys could be in a negative mood, and even though you're in a negative mood in those moments, the signs from the universe make you feel like you're not alone. And so even in those negative moments, you don't feel that negative, if that makes sense. You don't feel that negative. It's like you might be having a negative mood, but in your negative mood, but your thoughts are positive because you're experiencing all these synchronicities from outside yourself. I hope that makes sense. With Release Your Blocks, I think you guys are really good at getting other people to release blocks in their personality. With the sacral chakra here, this is also dealing with creativity. I feel like you guys are extremely creative people, and that's something that makes you stand out to others, is people say, whoa, they're actually really creative. They have so many great ideas, and they have so many things to like provide and bring to the table. Even though you guys have been through a lot of hardships, you've been through a lot of difficulties, I am seeing that this creativity is something that carries you through, basically. With the sunlight card here too, there's this vibe that your solar plexus might be very active as well. You guys might have a very active solar plexus, sacral, and even heart chakra area. So your whole like chest cavity or your torso chakras might be really alight. People might actually be drawn to that part of your body physically as far as like what makes you stand out. I feel like people could be like, whoa, they have a really nice like chest, or they have a really nice abdomen or something like that. There's some vibe of like those areas of your body being like, I want to use the word well endowed. I don't know if that's the right term to use. But there's something about you looking good in those areas or looking attractive in those areas. With the folly here, with the Tower and Saturn, I do see that like a lot of these hardships, like they really caused you a lot of pain at the time, but you've moved through those and you're like still positive no matter what. I see a lot of this with Nine of Visions is based on wishing for things, right? It's like sending out messages into the universe and wishing to get them, receive them in return, right? Wishing wells might be important for you guys. I'm just seeing this coin falling into this wishing well. And I am seeing a lot of fish symbolism, right? We have the King of Cups here, Caper of Visions, which has this salmon. And then we also have this Nine of Visions, which is this coin, this wish. I think that other people, when they approach you, they might share a wish or a desire with you, and then after they've been around you and they've shared that with you, you might come to find out later that those people have achieved their wish or desire. I'm getting head tingles, so that's confirmation. The main thing that I'm seeing here is that you guys are kind of like a wishing well for other people. So you make wishes to the universe, but it's almost like other people's wishes that you encounter come true more often than yours do. You guys are kind of the types of people that can make things happen for others, is kind of what I'm seeing, but might struggle to make things happen for yourself. So for example, with the Keeper of Visions, you might be extremely intuitive. I mean, this card is the most intuitive of any card. How do I put this, in the deck, like out of the court cards, right? The King of Wands in the traditional tarot is like surrounded by water, right? Every other court card that deals with water up until that point is either on a dock, by a river, by the beach, but then the King of Cups is like in the middle of the ocean surrounded by water. This is reflected in this deck too, because this is the only card in this deck with the Keeper of Visions that's a full-on animal, right? That is a full-on animal that lives and breathes in water. They just survive in the water. This is further indicated by you guys having 3 cup cards and then 3 major arcanas. There's just a lot, and with Scorpio energy here, there's a lot of, and you also have first quarter moon in Scorpio. You guys have a lot of Scorpio instinctual energy. You guys could be very psychic. You could be very intuitive. You might be fascinated with the occult. I think you're with Saturn and the folly here. I feel like your hardships in life have made you even more psychic than your friends or your peers. I feel like you guys have a very psychic component to your nature, and you're really good at making things happen for people. You have this way of like brightening the days of others, or brightening the lives of others through like, and it's almost like it's like you're a magic fish, right? It's like with this fish here, it's like they just have to come into contact with you and tell you about what they want. And then later you find out it's happened for them. And you're not even doing anything in particular to make them achieve their dreams. It's just like, whoa, like I just talked to them and then all of a sudden this great thing happens for me. You know, it's one of those things. It's like people are like amazed. You're like a wishing well, right? People kind of want to tell you about their wishes, you know? Thing is, I'm not quite sure. I think people like, you know, realize this, but I don't know if it's something that they're consciously aware of. It might be something that makes you stand out, but other people are unconsciously aware of it. Because I don't think people are coming up to you being like, oh, let me tell you my wish so it'll come true, you know? I do think that people are unaware of it, and so they do come to you for helpful tips and advice. They might share problems with you. They might share worries and concerns with you. And something about your energy, when they receive certain like vibes off your, like, what am I trying to say? When they receive the energy, when they receive your energy, they get this new vibe to them that like helps them manifest those desires. With I'm inspired in all that I do, I think you guys have a lot of inspiration. I think that's something that stands out to a lot of people. They go, wow, they always have ideas for things, right? I think people are like amazed at like how you always are like ready to do something, or you have a plan, or you're ready to get something done. I feel like you guys don't take too much time to hesitate or like plan things out. I think you guys get into things right away. Also with the Starlight card, you have a lot of hope for the future is kind of what I'm seeing. Also with the Starlight and the Sunlight card, you guys could resonate with being star seeds, or not even star seeds, but like receiving celestial energy and channeling it through your bodies is kind of what I'm seeing. So even though you're intuitive, you guys might receive energy from the stars. Like if you go out and stare at the night sky, or you stare at the moon, or you even like go out and like, you don't stare at the sun, obviously, because you know you'll go blind. But like if you go outside and let the sun hit your skin and feel the warmth of the sun, whatever you can do to like resonate and feel closer to celestial events. So being outside in the open sky is going to really, like, I think that's one thing that's going to manifest your wishes. It's like, because you're this channel for those celestial events, when people come to you, you're like, how do I put it? I'm getting closer to the mic. Sorry if I'm getting louder, guys. You're almost like a channel, right? For celestial energies into the earthly plane, or into the humans of the earthly plane, right? The vibe that I'm seeing here is like, if you want to get your life, you have to kind of make yourself a human first, and instead of channeling people, which might help if you're just alone and underneath the night sky. So something I could recommend is going camping on your own, sleeping under the stars, something like that, or spending it with a few close, intimate partners and just sleeping under the stars, or being in nature. Going to the beach and lying out on the beach and letting the sun soak into your skin. could be beneficial. Use sunscreen if you need it. But letting these kinds of things happen to you based on things that are happening in the sky could make you stand out even more, and make you, in a good way, make you stand out even more, and make people come up to you and start complimenting you on your appearance. I'm seeing that a lot of this, your appearance could start glowing based on like you guys spending more time in the sunlight or and under stars and seeing the moon and stuff like that. You guys have this way of like, with this salmon right here, I'm seeing this salmon with glowing skin, right? And I do see that like you guys might be so much in the depths of your intuition that you need to come to the surface of the water so you can like get those celestial sky kind of energies into your body, basically. We also have stars surrounding this coin here, which I just realized. And it's kind of making me feel like the wishes that people get granted by from you are because of celestial entities moving through your body. With release your blocks, I think you help people release their blocks. I don't think they realize this. I think people might think you're this type of person who's kind of like a psychologist or someone who kind of is good at helping people remove things in their life, but I don't think you really need to be that active about it, because the main thing I'm seeing with this Keeper of Visions and this energy that I'm seeing is like you just help people release their blocks by the pure nature of you being around, right? It's not even necessarily anything you're actively doing. I think sometimes you do actively help people release their blocks, and I'm seeing that with this creative energy, this sacral chakra. You guys help people do that by helping them get more creative or being more creative. But the main thing that I'm seeing here is it's just like an effect. Like it's just something that people are around you and then good things happen to them, I do think you have somewhat of a control over this. For example, if you don't like a person, I don't think the same effects are going to happen to them as someone that you do like, if that makes sense. I think that your preferences for people who you're appreciative of and who you care about are kind of tied into their success in a way too. With Saturn in the first house, you guys might have kind of like a thinner appearance is kind of what I'm seeing. That could be a possibility. The other possibility too is that people are really attracted to your physical appearance, right? And they kind of see that on the surface, on your physical appearance, that you've been through it, like with wear and tear, you've been through a few hardships. Even though you have such a bright and positive sunny exterior, they can tell like the wear and tear on your body that you've been through a lot of hardships or issues or things in life. Another thing that makes you stand out, people notice that with generates luxuries, experiences, and surroundings, people notice that you have a very luxurious nature. There's this vibe that you guys indulge in the little luxuries in life. Like, you're not afraid to like pamper yourself and indulge in little things here and there. That's the one thing that I'm attracted to you guys by when I saw this card, because this is one of my favorite cards. Because sometimes it's great to just pamper ourselves and to like take care of ourselves and indulge in those little things, right? This could be something that I think that makes people really endeared. Like, how do I put this? It makes them really connected to you because you have this ability to kind of resonate with them on that vibration of like dealing with the little luxuries of life is kind of what I'm seeing. Mainly what makes you stand out is your creativity, the effect that you release blocks on people. So the thing that makes you stand out is after people have spent time with you, they realize, whoa, I feel a lot better all of a sudden. Or I feel like I can really accomplish my goals now. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Also, people really, what makes you stand out is that you're inspired all the time. That's kind of another thing. So it's just that you kind of have all this inspiration. What people don't see is this Four of Visions card where you're like bored to yourself. You're not experiencing anything new. You feel depressed, something like that. People don't see this side of you. You probably spend time away from people. A lot of this stuff can get remedied by spending time outside under the night sky or under the day sky. Just under the sky in general and being out. The stars might be significant just as much as the sun. So don't overvalue one over the other. I'm also seeing a lot of wooded areas. I mean, this deck is called the Enchanted Forest Tarot, so it's all forest, but maybe being in the woods could be beneficial for you guys as well. All right, I'm going to end the reading there. If you guys like this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading and you resonated with my energy, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers here at Cody Tarot. And with that said, I'm going to end the readings there. There's no more groups. And I really enjoyed reading for you guys today. It was an honor and a pleasure. I hope you guys have a great day or night, wherever you are. And I will see you guys in the next pick a card. Bye.